Okay, so we're just about ready to wrap up this lesson, but we need to first talk about the factors that influenced why did our solar system end up the way it did. So one is location. Location, location, location. So that the further you were from the sun, you had different kinds of materials to work with. So that in the inner part of the solar system, you got the terrestrial planets because you basically only had rock to work with. And the ice was pushed out further in the solar system because of the temperature, and the gas was pushed out further in the solar system because of the solar wind. Okay, so then in the kind of like the middle part of the solar system, you did have a lot of ice and you did have a lot of gas. But the further away you got, the less gas there was, but you still had a lot of ice to work with, and you still had a lot of rock to work with. And then the other thing is, the further you are from the sun, the temperature changes. It gets colder the further away from the sun you get. Okay, then the other thing is, what was the initial mass of the objects that were out there? So we know that the mass can affect the composition, because the bigger an object is, the more ice it can grab onto, and then the more ice it gets, the more hydrogen and helium it can grab onto. It also affects the heat, so that the larger an object is, the more internal heat it can hold on to. The smaller it gets, the faster it loses its heat. And then also, the mass of these objects cause tidal forces because of their gravity. So what is the evolutionary history of the outer planets? So each of these planets initially had a rocky core to start with. They next attracted water and carbon dioxide and methane and ammonia ice. Jupiter and Saturn grew larger still as they attracted hydrogen and helium. And then Uranus and Neptune collected less gas because the further away from the sun you got, the amount of hydrogen and helium kind of petered out. But there was ice out there, so Uranus and Neptune were able to collect that. Then chemical differences arose because each of the different objects had different kinds of gases in their atmospheres. And those chemical reactions were different because they were subjected to different amounts of pressure and different amounts of temperature. The gas and ice giants collected large numbers of moons because they had more gravity to work with. And then Pluto and the other trans-Neptunian objects are just large examples of the leftovers from the formation of the solar system. All right, let's take one final break, and when we come back, let's do a lesson quiz.